It's okay. You're watching A New Way of Being, hosted by Avatar Galextra and Mahogany on YouTube Live. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have gone through in this world terrorized me to the point where I'm very angry. The United States mistreated me mistreated me all through my life there. And when I could take no more, well, the reason they mistreat me, one of the reasons is that they wanted me to, this Caucasian, blue-eyed, blonde-hair guy wanted to marry me, and I'm supposed to say yes, and I don't even know the guy from Adam, and I don't want to go with anybody who is mistreating people of my culture or any other culture. So I refused to do what they want, and whenever I was going to work, they were terrorizing me. They stole my different things from me when I was in the United States. A coat, an expensive coat that was bought for me. A beautiful, different little clothing that I had people terrorize me when I was going to model, harassing me, using people of my own culture that I did not even know to terrorize me. Why should anyone be treated in such a manner? Don't you know that when you behave in such a manner and you treat people in that way, you're literally setting up a whole society to become that way if you keep pushing them in such a manner? And when children are not being trained by their mom and their dad is holding them on the lap with their penis touching their child babies in their hand, what we as men you need to do, you need to put a cushion on your body, and then you can hold your daughter. Your wife does not have that part, so she does not have to worry and protect her child in that way. But dads are supposed to do that. But yet, I've been seeing fathers who is holding their children in that way, and I guess that's one of the reasons I'm hearing about men raping their own children. That is evil. For females to be used by men on CNN and other stations to literally come on to other people's husbands so that they can destroy the families, that is a disgusting thing to be doing. When you set up women to play against other women, women will stop trusting each other. And we already have begun. And the reason you can't trust them is because they're being used by men to do damage to other women and families. This is not how things will work. When you spend your time terrorizing human beings, what you will see are people who are not necessarily who will terrorize you, but is going to make sure that you hear well and good what they feel about what you have done to them, like you all have done to me and my family, like the police is doing all over the Canadian country or the American country, world. This should not be happening. Because of lack of development in certain areas that is necessary for people to communicate properly and to work together, this is happening. When we start treating people with the respect that they deserve and giving them the right to deal with problems as it goes along because it's happening to them, they have a right to be able to deal with those problems in ways in which harms no one, but shows the problems that are being created by people with motels, people with different in different nationalities, people who are being used to terrorize human beings that others think they're less than they are. People who are stealing your clothing, your shoes, cutting off your hair, giving you marks intentionally to make sure you don't look beautiful and as you normally do. These are the same people that are addressing your children in public in the school system. These are the children that are suffering. And when they turn out in the way in which they do, because there's no one there for them, because the government is occupying their parents and they don't have time to look after their children. The government is occupying the children's lives when they reach certain points in their lives. They must now go to work. They're being trained to be controlled by systems that has no right to that any kind of controls over people. It's when systems came in that people started killing. When people come together and behaving irresponsible and throwing out all kinds of bad things in the environment, what you will see is a bunch of people that have been crucified to become that kind of being that they end up becoming. And that's why your society is loaded with gook. The people are loaded with bad behavior without any kind of discipline, without any kind of recognition of what right and wrong is. Your husband can't be trusted, your wife can't be trusted, the children feel unloved and uncared for. Prejudice blow all over the world, destroying the qualities of people. Those that they can't turn into what they want them to become, they find ways to make sure they victimize you, terrorize you, persecute you, and then set up others to talk a lot of baloney that they have no development in, to tell you how you're supposed to see things and think and speak out. That's not the right of anyone to tell another person that they're supposed to go along to get along with behaviors that is undermining themselves, their families, and the institution at large. Mr. Trudeau, I left a message for you. I want you to know this. I am not here to abuse you like you have abused my daughter with Mr. Trump when you raped her. I am not here to spend my time killing anyone, but I will speak out about the abuses that I'm receiving in this motel. And what is the name of this motel?
Advance Inn.
Advance Inn. This is something that no one should be going through. Either the boy, I don't think it's a man, because the man seems too authentic that he did not do that, but his son seems to be coming up on the roof and using the technology that Mr. Trump is using, or other people like him that is coming through in that way with intentions of terrorizing my body, raping, abusing like they did to our daughter, and trying to tell me what I can and cannot do. Well, I'm a god. Look at what they did to me. Look at the lines. I'm a god. I'm not someone who will have these lines coming out on my face, and because my face was youthful and young, and all through the process, and the government was sending people to damage it, like Mr. Trump. The United States owe me money in the billions. To be exact, I won't call the number. It's in the 30s. They are supposed to pay the money, and instead, you know what the government is doing? Spending their time behaving shallow, showing that they don't belong being governments, that the wrong people are running a government without the development to recognize that these are the people who are the servants of the people. These are the people that are now robbing the people of their rights to be able to live. These are the people that are stealing the rights of other people, not only their property. They're sending people out to steal the things that you bought to wear. And when all of that is stolen, you have to make sure they give you junk to wear. When you can't, and you go back and you make sure you buy some things, you have to buy with what little money you have. And they're stealing the money, they're stealing the clothes, they're stealing the shoes, they're stealing even your hair, your look. And then lying to people like the United States government lied and told the public that I raped my little sister. No, they have been given that 4D technology, what do I call it? Engine technology. Sorry, just wiped out of my mind. That is Trump and the police that they're using to terrorize and whoever else. They are using that 4D technology. And the police is now using it, and they're doing damage and creating crimes, and they're blaming on someone who's using something of the police. That's not quite true at all. What I'm seeing is that the police is a part of it. That's why they went to the motel owner and told him, and then came to speak to us, bringing the motel owner, because I spoke out about them coming through the roof, because I got an impression of them, of the son and of the father. coming and trying to terrorize me by moving back and forth there, and then coming down into the bathroom and coming and attacking me in the womb, in the back, in different parts that Mr. Trump already set up for them to be able to use that machine to attack. And that's what they're doing. They deformed my mouth. They deformed my face. They started using, and the guy, the police, or one of them, the Mattel or Battelle or whoever, have been using this stuff to attack my body, to loosen my body and have it become flabby. This is how they got to age me in the first place, by cutting off my hair and the stymieing the roots in my on both sides of my head, doing cutting my hair low in the front, trying to make sure that I look as bad as they could possibly look. They have been watching me for decades. The Canadian government, the United States government, even though I have done nothing wrong. My daughter was terrorized also when we rented from a girl called Lena and John Caruso. Lena would come into our room at night and play with my husband's private part, and my husband was rotating because he probably thought it was me, and I was not doing that. She did it on 2 nights or maybe more, because at times I was sleeping. When I got up, I would see that and I would spray, and she knew not to come back, but she did come back. When we had to go to the courts to try to stop the problems that were taking place, we did not give all of the information, but the courts knew enough to recognize that we were not the criminals and we were not the ones doing damage. But yet she got away with us for not being able to remember that she was doing these things to my husband in the night while I was sleeping. About our daughter, I'm jumping back and forth because that's all I can remember as I go along. Sometimes I say I'm trying to speak to her and write about, then it gets wiped out. That's because they're using the technology to wipe out my memory so they can get away with the kind of twisted things that they're doing that are really criminal things. Our daughter, in that place where Lena and John Caruso owned when we were renting on Scott Street, they raped Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Trump raped my daughter. She was very angry. She tried to scream and they blocked her mouth from screaming. The following day, she told me what happened to her. And I was very disappointed. They were telling our daughter to come and ask to sleep, to have sex with me. And I don't do that. I gave my daughter her life, her body, and I have no intentions of doing anything in such a manner to my child. I did not give her her body for me to take and own for myself to do bad things with. It's not my right. When they saw that I was not going to go and do that with my child, they decided to tell me that if you sleep with your kids, we will put you in jail. The United States government or the Canadian government was saying it. They just was looking for ways in which they can turn me into what they were doing to other people. Anyway, they raped her. Then Mr. Trump started using that technology, coming without us being able to see him. At least once or so or twice I was able to see him, and after that he started blinding my eyes so that I can't see him. Then he started attacking my ears so that I can't hear anything, and then started teaching my daughter to speak softly so that I will have to come up and she used to speak properly. She loud enough for you to hear, soft enough if she has to. Then suddenly Mr. Trump decided that she's now going to eat true food the way in which she was not trained to eat food. She was trained to eat food with her mouth closed. And Mr. Trump forced her by terrorizing her and threatening her to do what he wants, or he is going to do whatever he's going to do. And one of them, I guess, is to kill her. Well, she did what he wanted, and he forced her to eat to a point where she looked so huge. I could not believe that that's our daughter.
Like 2 people.
She looked like about 3 people. in one. When we went, when we they took her to the nursing home, mental unit, because of what they did to her. Mahogany was a child master. Mahogany was not deformed in the head. Mahogany was so smart that she can give us information and give other people information that they did not know. And she was that type of child all through her life. And she was persecuted in the school systems and did nothing to harm anyone. Her brother was kept apart from his sister in order so that they can torment and torture in the school systems. The government set it up in the United States. Actually, in Canada, the United States was similar. They told Canada when I was coming here that they should treat me like a terrorist because that's what the American government was treating me like. Not because I did something wrong, but mainly because I'm an African being that has no right to look beautiful.
Who's a god?
Who is a god. And so they were trying to kill me since I was born until as a child going to school with my big sister. Well, they felt they did not have enough, so they wiped out my family. Mr. Trump and Mr. Trudeau. They killed them all 5 members of my family. I had 2 more brothers, and apparently they were giving them strokes. I do not know if they're alive or dead, and the United States was supposed to give me money pay me the money they owe me, and the United States would not pay me the money. And I had to leave where we were leaving, because they were trying to destroy my life. And I forgot, could you believe I just got wiped out from what I was really trying to tell you what happened about certain things. And this is what the technology that they use to do to you. And if I am correct in what I'm saying, a policeman is here, and every now and then he sort of throb me to let me know that if you talk, we'll fix you. So I'm speaking, but that's why they're wiping up my information, my memory. And this is why one minute I know it, the next minute it's gone. So I'm trying to get the information to you as quickly as possible so that you understand where I'm coming from. I had to leave a message with Mr. Trudeau to let him know that we need the $20 billion that they owe us. And if he wants to pay it in parts, that's okay too. But we would like to have at least half of it right now, and the other half when they feel that they're ready, they have enough money to give, but they need to pay that money. The American government is supposed to pay us $30 billion, and that the money that we receive will not only be for my family alone, but for other people like us who have been persecuted and terrorized with no one caring about their rights. They have to get back their rights to be able to live. So those that are going through hell, um, I will try to make sure that I can get to them. And if I could get to them, I'm going to make sure that they have enough money to live in a way in which they haven't been ever before. Um, my daughter and my husband and I's children, I'm going to make sure that they are also looked after. We would like our rights to be met now because we've been terrorized in the United States and in Canada because of what the United States told Canada to do to me, sorry. So they've been using my husband against me and also helping my husband to think that he's superior to me because he has my information that he's using. And that is okay, I don't mind that. But I am disappointed in how he has changed and is now abusing me verbally to do what he wants because he owns me. Well, I love my husband dearly, but I do not like what he's doing. So if this is what I'm going to have to expect from my husband, I certainly am not going to be staying with him, or will I be going with any other man except paying people to look out for my family's best interests, their lives and my life. I have to let you know that being who I am does not mean that I'm superior to anyone. I never treated anyone as if I was superior to them, but I was treated as if I had a right. I have no right to look and act the way I do. I was not mistreating anyone. I was just treating people properly, and they were turning on me like my husband is now turning on me. So, as I told my husband, if he wants to, he has the floor now. He can go with anybody he wants to and leave me alone. When the time comes, I would like Mr. Trudeau to give me a call, and tell me when I'm getting my money so that I can make sure that our daughter get her money from what she's been through, our son from what he has been through, and look after my husband, give him what is he has a right to, and move on with my life. But I'm not going to take this kind of treatment ever again. And I've not mistreated him, and he has persecuted me, helping other people to do so. So I'm better off being living alone or with my family, my children, and my husband if he wants to, if he's behaving properly. Other than that, I cannot live under these conditions. I have terrorism all around, except my children are not treating me in such a manner, thank goodness. But I do want to have you know what I've been put through. And when I came to Canada, I have been terrorized in the jobs everywhere I went. I felt like a plague. They even used people of my culture here to abuse me too. And I have not been able to live as a happy person, even though I've treated people with respect and dignity and treat them happily. I did not have that happiness in my life. Um, my husband was a beautiful human being before, and he treated me well. I have to admit that. That's quite true. And I love him to death, but I do not love to stay with anyone that is verbally abusing me and blocking me from my rights to help my family to know that as all nationalities, they have a right to know their quality. They have a right to know that they were born with quality, and that what they became is not their true selves, is what they've been forced to become by what was being done to them as human beings. They would never have been behaving that way if it were not for others not training, not being allowed the freedom to stay at home and train their kids first before they go and work for anybody. The government did not care about the people's children. They've turned the whole society upside down, and it's time for the government to know that they cannot run a country. They don't even know how to run their own lives, or they would not be behaving like people who do not care about the rights of other people. That's what I'm seeing all around me. People who care nothing about the rights of other people. If it were not for my daughter and our son, who I personally trained, their classy behavior shows worldwide. I'm proud of them. They use other people to destroy me and to block me from being around my family. So they made me look older, and then turn around and use people to attack me if they did not close the fridge properly. To attack me and make me appear like someone who has no rights, and now you can do what you want with me. Well, I am angry. I'm very angry because of it, and because of what they did to my daughter and what they did to block my family from staying together. But it's time for me to make changes. If I see that I do need to make changes, I will definitely make those changes. But I'm not interested in going with any other man. The only man that I care about and will care about is the one that I love very much, and I'm not going to spend my time staying with him to have to go through what I've gone through, which he was not that kind of person for a long time until he got connected with the wrong people that was um, making him think that it's about him, not about me, not about us, not about the family. Well, I've been there for my family. I did my job, but they suffered anyway because of Mr. Trump and the United States government, who gave him executive privilege to do whatever he wants with people, especially of color, like us. And for those who don't recognize and don't care, beware. Because once they start practicing those kind of things, which they have already started, and a lot of people are suffering the plight already, you're going to find your whole society is going to go down even further. I don't have your virus, thank goodness, and my children won't have your virus simply because They're children of God's, and also the fact is that they've been trained in a way in which shows that these kids know how to behave, how to conduct themselves. And I'm being attacked under my foot right now. This is what these people are telling me, that I'm crazy because I'm not seeing those who come into the house to do me in, but I'm feeling it. Well, guess what? I am feeling it right now, and I've been feeling it for decades in the United States and in Canada. And I want my money, and I want it now. And my daughter has a right to her money too, and she's going to get her money also. My son does too. He will get his money. And to the public, that if for those that I meet that I told that I was going to help, I will definitely keep my word as long as I know where I can reach you. And hopefully many others would be helped in the process of that happening. Blessings to you all. But please remember some things that you need to remember. Do not mistreat women and stop telling them to do things that they normally would not be doing. Women are not the type of people that was running after men. They were trained to do that decades ago in the United States by other women who decided, or maybe Canada, I can't remember, that one or the other, or both. Training women to go after and persecute other women by going after their husbands, by terrorizing them, making them think that they're less than, when I always knew that I was never less than. They showed me they're less than. So if you're going to do something good. Stop terrorizing people, because what you're doing is setting up the society to be what it has become today. And shame on all of you who have been a part of it, because you did not have to be. All you had to do was the right thing. Don't take jobs that are telling you to do bad things to other people. Don't kill anyone. Don't spend your time doing damage to no one, because when you do that damage, you're also setting up a whole society to become that way, which I would never become, because I'm not here to be practicing that kind of stuff. But the United States and Canadian government did promise me one thing. Excuse me. They will do whatever it takes to either kill me, excuse me, drive me crazy, or destroy my family. Many other things they said, but can't remember. They were all wiped out. Mr. Trump has been attacking me in the knees so that I can't work out, trying to make sure that I gain weight. That I believe that's why they have the COVID virus. Not because it's real, but because they set it up to become real and give it to other people so that they use Mr. Trump to help them. And that's one of the reasons they gave him executive privilege, because they are killers too. They're the ones killing out a lot of people. So they gave Mr. Trump that executive privilege machine to destroy human beings that has done nothing wrong to anybody. And suddenly you see all kinds of people coming out like they're criminals, being treated that way, when they can't even tell you that they're being victimized. And because they've practiced this on the African people for so many decades and nobody cared, it's now being done to people of their own nationality, and it's riding to all kinds of cities and destroying people bit by bit. They want to wipe out many people, even though they told the women to sleep around with all the men. When I told them no, they treated me like I was some sort of plague, which they were already doing before, but they got worse. The plague now became a bigger one. I've never been a plague to anyone. You know what y'all are calling a plague? A God. A God who is here to help to stop the problem that y'all are going through. Not just to help you verbally, but help you through the systems, the same systems that have been terrorizing and abusing me and my children and my husband. These are the same people that are now using him to terrorize me. I don't know him anymore, but I still do love him. He's my husband, but I really don't know him anymore. Our daughter just came here, and I was hoping that we can all help and be there for our daughter, and for each other. But he's failing me over by how he's taking up for those who are doing damage to me and ignoring what I'm going through. When they were doing it to him, I stood up on his behalf. I protected him, protected um, his life at different times by what I had to do. He protected me too for some point through our relationship. But the protection stopped. I became the one being verbally abused for speaking out about what is being done to stop the problem so that no one else will suffer this. And now they're coming out with all kinds of words to insult people even further, talking about abuse. I think our government on both sides, the United States and in Canada, needs to start looking at what they're doing and tell people when they're going to pay them the money instead of playing games and using all kinds, saying the same things over and over to the same people that they already gave, and saying they're sending money here and sending money there, but they would not even for 1 minute give you the money that they have a right, that you have a right to have. How are you going to live? Spend your time in a motel that is raping, using people probably in the motel son to come and rape, and bringing the police to do the same, bringing or anybody else. Why? Because I wouldn't sleep around and play their nasty, stinky, smelly games. Sorry about the words, but I have to say it. It's not swearing. What I want as a society from all of you is for you to start behaving responsibly, treating people with dignity and respect, so that you won't have to meet this kind of stuff going on wherever you turn. And the police, they're no longer working for the people. So guess what? They're working against you, and they will dress like you and act like the police, even though they're not. They're police that shouldn't be. They are doing damage to people, innocent people, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing it to us. We're seeing it. We're going through it. And I've been going through it all of my life. My daughter has been too. Our son has been also. I would advise that you start getting intelligent enough to recognize that when you have done this to human beings and you've taken their lives away and treated them in the manner in which they have been treated, and stealing their clothes and their shoes and their hair and deforming them and making sure that you destroy them, that the United States government told me that they would like to see me gone in so many different ways. And instead of y'all being prejudiced, start looking to do the right thing. Mr. Trump, pay the 30 billion that you owe this family for the atrocities that you've done to them, with your government giving you the right to do it. And the government has to pay their bill too. I don't consider you the government. I consider you something that they spewed out of their butts to destroy people. You were no good from the beginning. You need to pay the money you owe. And the police, they will have to pay some money too. All the systems will have to pay money in the United States and in Canada that have been doing damage to my family and to me. You want to kill? You've been trying to kill me for decades. You've been planting mucus in my body and trying to say, to give the impression that I have that virus. I don't have the virus, buddy. I know how to kill it before it gets to my body to destroy it, to destroy me. I have learned how to depend on myself. And once in a while, my husband, because he has certain abilities that I don't. And that is specifically done because had I gotten those abilities, the academics, I would have known how to get y'all down in a long time now. But I had a job to do. I have to study the problems. I have to see who is practicing it. I have to make sure that I am pointing out the right people. And whether I'm speaking the truth or not, they come out to give the impressions that we are lying. Why? Because the police is a part of it. The Canadian police is a part of the kind of corruption that is being done to us and other people like us, or even people like in their own culture too, who was helping them. They're not getting the help anymore We've never gotten the help. We are waiting to see if Mr. Trudeau is going to recognize, if he cares so much about those that he's giving money to, why isn't he giving us our money? And why isn't he telling us when he's going to pay us? Because we need money right now. We are not people like you have already paid. They can move all around. They can spend their money. We have no money to spend. We have no life to live because you have robbed us of all these areas. When we were going to work, you were terrorizing us. You were blocking us from our right pay. You were also making sure that you set up people wherever we work to persecute us as well as those we are working for. We want our money and we want it now. We do not want to wait after we are dead. Then you're giving us the money or dropping $100 for my daughter. No, that's not going to work. I have a family that you all have destroyed. And those that survived, I want to make sure that they are looked after. So I would advise, if you really want the people to trust you again, and for me to trust you, you need to pay the money and open the door so I can get out of your country. Because you care nothing about us. You care nothing about me. You care nothing about my family. And you didn't care about putting her in that place where she ended up having to go in order to get better. If Mr. Trump was not terrorizing her in the first place, our daughter would have been safe. And if your government in the United States and in Canada was not terrorizing us in the first place and our children, this would not have been happening. So we would advise that you pay us our money and pay us immediately. We don't want to be in your country. Your country does not care about us. And you know something? We might care about them, but we cannot do anything for them. They've become a dud. A bunch of people that are duds because of the lack of training and because of their ignorance in how they behave and how they take sides and do whatever they're told by those who they think have more power than they do, and robs them of the right to protect the rights of other people like they would like to be protected. If anyone should be asking anyone else to do that to them. How are we expected to live when we are going along to get along that undermines the rights of people like us and other nationalities that are going through possibly the same thing? I am here for the people, and I'll do my job. I'm waiting for my money, and I will take. I will say Mr. Trudeau should pay our money and the United States in 3 days. If it's not paid, then I will recognize that the United States and Canada is not interested in making sure that they pay their debt like they have been doing to us when we had no money to pay for the places that we were renting. At times we were kicked out, and it wasn't our fault. We were being persecuted by those that they set up to persecute us and block us from all the systems were locked off from us. Even in Canada, the systems were locked off from us. We've been terrorized all our lives. It's time for that tyranny to be stopped and the money to be paid. And you believe it or not, I'm asking you for less than I should be from what I have been through from the day I was born and the day my children were born till now and still going. I cannot remember the rest of things that I've been through, so I can't really tell you, well, or I'll be lying. But what I can tell you is this: when I remember, I will make sure that that information is out on paper. Have a great day and a great life. And for those that are not doing the wrongs, I wish you more rights and the opportunities to be able to stop the wrongs that are being done if you want to. Give the best to your society And when you do that, your society will become the best. But if you're given trash, turn around and you will see that same trash building up and turning people into what they're becoming. They weren't born to be that. They came here ready to develop and help others and help themselves. And they were cut short by the systems that forced themselves on people, saying that they were the servants of the people. But now the servants have now become the owners of the people. Thank you for listening. Blessings to you all, and I wish you the best. On behalf of my son, my daughter, myself, our children, and all beings, I wish you the best. And please, don't tamper with my family. We don't tamper on anybody. Stop looking for trouble. And when we do start fighting back, suddenly we are criminals. Even if we haven't, we're still criminals. Blessings to all of you. Good luck and safe journey. Have a great day, and don't forget your family. Bye. Thank you for listening. Thanks, Princess, for listening, for staying with me. I thought you wanted to speak.
Can you save it? Stop it. Just keep running if you don't.
Oh, yeah, could you save it, please?